Lovely and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. And some breaking news as PSDT has received his ban from international rugby following his red card against France's collision against Jonathan Danty early on in the game, which saw the box reduced to 14 men for about 78 minutes or whatever, 2 minutes or whatever it was. And it's quite an interesting decision, especially given the fact that Antoine Dupont's ban has also been revealed. And interesting to see that PSDT actually came away with a shorter ban than the French captain. But yeah, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well before we sort of break this all down. But basically, we knew that PSDT was not going to play again in the Autumn Nation series. I think that was pretty much accepted. And you know, as soon as you get a ban, as soon as you get a red card, you're looking at least a one-game ban. Very likely to be less than 2. And for him, you know, foul play, you know, you're looking at sort of 2 to 3 weeks at least, if not sort of up to 6 weeks. So they have announced the findings, and he has been banned for 3 weeks, with 1 pending on whether he completes a coaching intervention program. So if you go through the entire sort of statement, I just want to break it down a little bit. Is that the Independent Disciplinary Committee met this morning? It was chaired by Stephen Hardy from Australia. It was joined by international coach Frank Haddon from Scotland and former international John Langford from Australia. So those are the 3 people who heard the case. They had submissions from Detroit's representative that the charge be amended to Law 9. Players must not do anything that is reckless or dangerous to others, including leading with the elbow or forearm. Basically saying that Detroit denied that he committed any act of foul play worthy of a red card. However, having reviewed all available evidence and submissions made by the player and his representative, etc., the committee determined that the player had committed an act of foul play worthy of a red card. So bang, it's foul play. You're sitting in the 4 weeks sort of zone basically as soon as that is assumed. However, they in terms of why, they said they found the players offending to be reckless, which is what I said. I said it was reckless. I said, but not intentional or deliberate. And that's basically what I was saying. You know, I was saying that I understand that he wasn't trying to do that. It wasn't his purpose. He wasn't trying to headbutt the guy, but it was reckless. It was reckless. He was in a position where he didn't have much control, and they did consider the fact that there was other incidents. So people saying, you know, the push by Quagga Smith, I think it played a small part. I don't think it played a major part in it. If you look at certain angles, you know, it's for me, the push does not generate the amount of force that he then. So I think, you know, there is a push which might have thrown him out of balance, but he still launched himself towards the sort of the ruck in a position where he's not in control. However, so given the fact that it was head-on-head contact, for example, it was a minimum mid-range entry point for the foul play, which starts at 6 weeks suspension. So because of the head-on-head contact, you're looking at 6 weeks to begin with. However, there were mitigating factors. They said that there was evidence of remorse, and there was an exemplary prior disciplinary record and conduct during the hearing. So yeah, basically that he obviously was very cooperative during the hearing. He hasn't received cards in the past, and there was a sign of remorse. However, he didn't plead guilty, for example, which often also sees that. So that is what was reduced the 6-week ban up to a 3-week ban. So at this stage, it rules him out of SA versus Italy, SA versus England, and a 3rd match. However, he was granted permission to take part in the coaching intervention program, which will then take place instead of the last ban. So you do this coaching program, which is aimed at modifying specific techniques and technical issues that contribute to the foul play. Basically, it's going to go on a how to ruck safely course, and then he can play after 2 matches. So that 3rd game can be removed. He does have the right to appeal, which he has to do within the next 48 hours. Now, very interestingly, Antoine Dupont was banned for 4 weeks, which can come down to 3. And and that's quite interesting because Antoine Dupont, for example, didn't argue anything. He said, 100%, I understand it's a red card offense, my bad, you know, type thing. So he didn't deny the red card offense, which was quite interesting, given the fact that he was then still given a longer ban. But I think the reason for it, and again, he's a similar sort of situation where that 4-week ban can on a 3-week ban if he goes on a tackling course. I think the reason for it is if you look at sort of the level of danger, for example, and also that there seems to have considered the fact of the external factors, for example, that there was a slight push in PSDT's instance, for example, that they might have been apply the factors, whereas you look at Antoine Dupont's, for example, there's no mitigating factors from he was tripped or, you know, he was in full control of his actions, and I think that's probably what's tipped it. Whether I think it's fair, I'm not sure. I do find it a bit strange that the one player could go 100% understand, I got it wrong, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, I will do the coaching thing, and you get more than somebody comes and saying, I still don't think it's a red card. It's showing remorse. So obviously PSDT is always saying very sorry that what happened, and I feel very bad about it. Also, the weird thing is, for example, in both cases, it did result in injury, which is a part of it as well. But yeah, strange for me that Dupont doesn't argue any of it and gets a worse ban than somebody who's still sort of saying, no, I don't think it's a red card. So one would imagine there would then be those other factors, the fact that there was contributing factors towards why PSDT Toy ended up in that position, which they weren't the same factors in Anton Dupont. That's the only thing I can think of as the reasoning as to why the bans slightly differ by a week. It's look, at the end of the day, they're both sitting at 6 weeks and then moving down, so they've both been reduced. So it's interesting. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks is pretty fair. As I said, I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was malicious, but I do think it was reckless. I don't think he was in a position of control, and if you're not, you can't be throwing yourself into collisions like that, because these things can happen. So that's no malice towards him. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. We all still love him. We all still rate him. But he was just here at a moment of a bit of a lapse concentration, and he got it wrong. And it happens. It happens. Now we can move on. He's got the suspension. He won't play again this year, and we'll be back next year. We can move on. So I think it's a pretty fair ban. I don't have too much issue with it, but let me know if you differ down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll chat to you guys all very soon.